Hello everyone, my name is Domagoj. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about visual recognition and processing of handwritten text. As you all know, artificial intelligence is becoming an increasingly important topic every day. People are realizing the strengths of the application of artificial intelligence in our everyday lives. And there are many possibilities to apply artificial intelligence, and one such application we will show in practice we will show as part of this presentation. What the presentation will have: firstly, we will introduce the problem, then we will talk about visual recognition, which turns the image text into textual text, natural language processing to process the text that we have from visual recognition, IBM Watson as the leading toolkit for NLP, and the solution which contains all these concepts to form one universal solution for this problem. The problem is that in the tourism sector, where there are hotels and resorts, people usually resort to paper satisfaction surveys, where guests at the end of their stay get a paper and they have to write in by hand some answers to some questions. There are usually two types of questions. The first is rating, where you have to put in 1 star to 5 stars, for example, and the other one is review, where you have to write in detailed feedback, which is usually specific to one component of the customer service, for example. And the problem becomes a problem when there is a great number of surveys. Then the review by human employees becomes unprofitable, and the better solution is using artificial intelligence. Visual recognition is the first concept, the first part of our solution. It is a subfield of computer vision, which also contains pattern recognition. Visual recognition does the job of detecting and classifying objects in digital images or videos, which are none other than a sequence of images. As an example, we all know when we go to a public garage, we get there by car, and the ramp opens automatically. The system which works here is a license plate detection system, which does both things we mentioned. The first is detecting the objects, which are letters or numbers in this case, and then the second part is classifying the numbers and letters into different symbols or letters, and then the ramp opens because we are somewhere in a database. The other side of visual recognition, the more complex side, is handwritten text, which is more complex because it's irregular and erratic. Everyone writes different. For example, we have on this slide we have two examples of reviews. We really enjoyed our stay as a general feedback, and I didn't like the unresponsiveness of your staff as another general feedback, which is negative. And our goal is to get the right side, the digital transcript of the text. Natural language processing is the other step. Natural language processing is a common subfield of artificial intelligence, and the subfields of AI, which are machine learning and deep learning, and on the other side of the field of linguistics. It gives the computers the ability to read, understand human languages, and there are many applications of NLP. The most popular application are virtual assistants or chatbots, which we can leverage to do virtually anything. Sentiment analysis means monitoring perception of consumers for our own brand, service, or product. Human resources also use some NLP tools. Usually it's for recruiting, where they search for relevant or the best candidates for open jobs. Registration automation is another thing they do by using virtual assistants, where the traditional approach is replaced with an interactive one. Search engine optimization means, on one hand, keyword extraction and relationship extraction between some entities in some texts. And the other one is document relevancy, which usually means semantic search, where the user gives an input or a query, and the system has to find the most suitable answer or the most relevant document in a big database of documents. Email classification, there's the popular problem called spam versus ham, where spam is unwanted mail and ham is useful wanted mail, and the system has to classify which is which. Another problem is phishing detection. Phishing is an attack where the attacker wants to get useful and sensitive user information, and the email is constructed in a way that it seems legitimate, but really it isn't. It's malicious. And machine translation is an application which is pretty good nowadays. Everyone knows Google Translate. We all use it every day. But it tends to be perfect to understand grammar better and to understand the context of different languages. IBM Watson is the leading platform for leveraging AI in your own business environment. It is not one tool, it's a toolkit or a platform with easy to use and intuitive NLP tools. There are 16 of them, if I'm not mistaken. Right now, I would like to mention some of them which we used in the past. Watson Assistant is a great tool for building chatbots or conversational interfaces. Discovery is a semantic or cognitive search tool. Language translator for translating text. Natural language classifier and understanding are tools for different NLP tasks. Personality insights, which we can use in the selection process, for example, in HR, where we can put in an email body and get as an output personality insights, which means, for example, big 5 dimensions of personality or personality traits and needs, values, and so on. Speech to text, text to speech for turning speech into transcriptions and vice versa. Tone analyzer for doing sentiment analysis, visual recognition for finding things in images, and so on. We will talk now a little bit more in detail about the tools that we used. Watson Language Translator is the first tool we used to form the solution for the mentioned problem. Translator contains 2 methods. The first method is identification or identify, where you can, for an input text, you can get a code or an ID for a language. The method identifies the input text. And translate or translation, which does the job of translating the input text with the given model to the desired language. Watson Language Translator works with more than 40 different languages, including Croatian, why it caught RI in the first place, This is a little example. Input English text. This is a simple example of Watson translation, and as an output to Croatian you get the JSON translation, and then it's a simple task of extracting the translation field to get the translation. Also you can get word count, character count, and other parameters. The second tool we use to form the solution is Watson Tone Analyzer. It does the job of sentiment analysis or analysis of emotions and tone in written text. In the past, there was usually a system of positive and negative sentiment, sometimes also neutral when the intensity of positive and negative is equal. Nowadays, there's a system of 7 emotions or more, but in the case of Tone Analyzer, there's 7. They're usually anger, fear, joy, sadness, and so on. The solution, here's a little drawing how it works. We have the initial surveys in PDF form. Then we transform the PDFs into PNG files, which are image files. The first step is to crop the IDs, or for example, room numbers. Then we crop the text, which has handwritten text. We put it into the engine for visual recognition, and we get the text in digital form, or in form of a text. We can also do some NLP corrections to correct some mistakes the engine might do. For example, if we know that the name of the hotel or a resort is in our database of names, and it's correctly written, and we find that there's a mistake in the recognition, we can just substitute them, and we have done an NLP correction. After the step of visual recognition and NLP correction, we put the text through the translator. We identify the language. We get the 2 letters or the ID, which represents the model which we will use to translate the text from the source text to the desired language. In this case, we translated everything to English. And sentiment analysis is the last step, where we put the English text through the tool and get 1, 2, or more emotions. And these emotions, combined with the IDs that we cropped in the beginning, go to the final report. On an example how it works, here's a little German example. Wir haben unseren Aufenthalt sehr genossen. We get the same text in form of a text from the image. After that, we use language translator. We detect that it's German because we get the DE, which means Deutsch. After that, we use the model and the source text to get the English translation, which is we really enjoyed our stay. After that, we use the sentiment analysis tool Tone Analyzer, which gives us 2 emotions, in this case joy and analytical, and both have intensities or some coefficients which indicate confidence that this is the identified emotion. In this case, it's 88% for analytical, which means that the user has an analytical attitude towards things, and joy for 84%. Another 2 examples which are of negative sentiment. I didn't like the unresponsiveness of your staff. The same goes for this example. We put it through the engine. We get the same review in form of a text. We translate it. We see that it's in English. We don't have to translate it. Then we use Tone Analyzer to get these 2 emotions, which are sadness and tentative. Sadness is more of a disappointment in this case, and tentative because the user is unsure about their opinion. He didn't like, he's not that sure. The other example of a negative sentiment, which is probably the worst review you can get, the worst customer service ever, which means anger and confident. The user is confident that he is angry about the customer service, and that's the worst customer service he has ever experienced. And a little conclusion, the problem of evaluating and reviewing surveys by human employees was here solved by automation by AI. The same concept can be applied to many other business processes, which is the whole point of this presentation. The IBM Watson platform is a great example how simple and easy to use NLP tools can be, and AI certainly has a bright future in the application in human assistance. AI won't replace humans, but humans will have the best virtual assistants in the future they can have. I would like to, in the end, thank you for listening or for watching. If you want to contact me, if you have any questions, you can write me an email, contact me on LinkedIn. Here's my contact info. And once again, thank you all for listening. Have a great day.